Okay, wait. So should I click it?
No, I think yours is good.
Okay, I won't touch it.
Because you turned yours on, right?
I did.
Okay. Yay, we can hear you.
That screw there.
Figuring it out.
I feel like you can't see us when
This is for this.
Good, this is what it looks like.
Either way.
Is it? Why is it red?
Oh, I don't know. But I guess just to explain to people why this is happening now is because if you
It's
use
not
your
where I'm at.
phones,
So
What?
it's not where I'm at. So
Oh, okay.
if you use your phones to go live, it won't let you access or set up until you're already live. So we were trying for a while.
I feel like it's good.
This is
Good is good.
break this up.
That is mine.
Very good.
Okay, buy my straw. It needed to be dropped a millimeter more. Alright, we're good, you guys.
Let's make sure that okay. Good. So you good?
We're good?
Yeah. It's good. Don't touch it.
Do you want to mute your computer? Is that what we're getting
No,
feedback?
it's a handphone.
Oh.
No, it's not.
It's fine. I don't think they can hear the
Okay.
feedback.
Okay.
Just don't touch it. Yeah.
We're good.
Don't let me touch anything. Okay.
I touched
Thanks for helping me. We'll see you after.
I'd move that back.
Enjoy exploring. Have fun. You want me to move this one back?
Maybe just touch. Or just when y'all are doing it, stay close. Like
Okay.
if that's the
Okay.
same.
Okay.
You can also move it to like show close ups.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Hello everyone.
Let's pretend we're starting right now.
And action.
Here we go. Whew. Hello. Welcome to Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Guess we're at Deadwick Emporium. Will you introduce yourself?
I'm Jezmina Von Thiele. I'm one of the.
I'm gonna close the
Oh
door.
yeah, good idea. We don't want any riffraff. Yeah, I'm Jezmina Von Thiele. I'm one of Deadwick's resident readers. I read tarot, palms, and tea leaves in my mixed Romani family tradition. I'm also a writer and co-host of Paranormal podcast, co-author of Secrets of Romani Fortune Telling. And let's show the book. Yes, we have.
We've actually read one of your stories on the podcast.
Oh my gosh, yes. That was fun. I wrote it about my possessed mother. So a rich history in your family.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Great.
Lots of skills and spooks.
Yeah.
So how did you get into fortune telling and tea leaf reading? Yeah, so it's definitely a cultural thing for some Romani people. So for listeners or viewers who might not know, Roma refers to the diasporic ethnic group originally from India, but a long time ago. We're also known more commonly by the slur or misnomer gypsies. And so when Romani people left India in waves beginning in the 10th century and just arriving in Europe, met with a lot of persecution, which continues. And so traditional work, metalworking, horse trading, performing, fortune telling, other trades that we're known for, were really the only jobs that Roma were allowed to work for a really, really long time. And gypsies is one of those words that, some Romani people use with pride, others prefer not to use it, but ideally only Romani people would use the word. We prefer that other people don't appropriate it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so fortune telling is basically my family trade.
Amazing.
Yeah, my grandmother started teaching me when I was 4. She came over from Germany in the 50s. And, like I said, I'm mixed. It's really just my maternal grandmother who's Romani. But
Can I show the business card?
yeah, it's such a huge part of my upbringing. We were so close. And she, that's my great-great-grandmother, Matilda Von Thiele. So I used her last name in the work that I do.
So cool.
Yeah.
So do all the women on your maternal side learn this? Is this like you turn 4 years old? You go like
yes and no. And so, for a lot of fortune telling families, it will be
really close.
closer to our scale. I've been wanting to be friends. I'm sorry. Yeah, and so a lot of times the women in the family will learn. Sometimes men though too, and also gender is a spectrum, and non-binary babes, and everyone gets to learn. But yeah, traditionally it would be, especially if you showed any aptitude from a young age, being intuitive or talking about spirits or just being sensitive. Or if you come from a line of people who are really talented, it would often be expected that you would learn. In my family, because my grandmother came over from Germany, my mother and my auntie Zena were taught but not encouraged to do the work professionally. And because my auntie was real anxious and my mother only saw unpleasant outcomes, my grandmother was like, "This is not good for business." But when I was like 3 years old,
I'm glad you're reading it. And
I'd
be like, you have 10 days to live.
Right. None of that. But yeah, and my co-writer and co-host, Paulina Stevens, we do Romance Sun podcast together and the book. She grew up in a traditional insular family, very much expected that, like, this is your job, this is what you're going to do, and there weren't really other options. So, whereas I was like, this is a job we've always done, you should learn it, you're good at it, it'll always be helpful for you, and also you can do other things if you want.
Right.
So different experiences across the spectrum, and not all Roma read fortunes or even like fortune telling, but the families do it.
What types of readings do you do?
So I offer what my grandmother taught me: tarot, palmistry, and tea leaf reading. It was really, really lovely. Actually, my favorite part of my childhood was hanging out with my grandma and learning these things. And she preferred reading from playing cards, but she agreed with me that tarot was more marketable.
Well, tarot used to be playing cards.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's actually an interesting point because a lot of people don't realize that while the Italians did create the tarot deck, that deck was inspired by earlier decks, like the Mamluk deck, coming from West Asia. That Romani people very likely brought that imagery with them because they were arriving in Italy around the same time, and Roma were also the first people to use tarot as divinatory tools. And so while we didn't maybe create the tarot or
like the name of it,
it's like we definitely created it as a job, as a divination. Yeah. And so we really like to bring the cultural context back to it because there are still fortune telling laws on the books in the U.S. that are specifically, that are specifically anti-gypsy.
What?
Yes.
Where?
Oh my God, yes.
What are these?
Oh, like Pennsylvania, like all kinds of Texas. It's really interesting. If you're doing
not here though.
No,
right?
I'm sure you can do whatever you want. Live for
your
die.
Yeah. My mom had a palm reading in Portsmouth. I think it was actually like 35 years ago, and everything to the T.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I don't know that the woman's still alive.
Yeah,
we looked into it. Wow. Yeah, but I love your shirt.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm kind of jealous of it. This was served to me as a TikTok ad, so I'll figure out where I got it from.
Yeah,
it's so cute. I love it.
But yeah, so basically Roma, are still persecuted, and also we're, more likely to be accused of scamming and all these different things. Fortune telling is kind of seen as a negative term, but really it's just a word for the labor of divination. Yeah. So it's really important that we recognize the cultural context of these practices because they've gone mainstream, which is totally fine. But as we're becoming more aware, it's nice to be like doing cultural exchange rather than cultural appropriation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us.
And you also teach classes here, right? I do. I teach tarot, palmistry, tea leaf reading, and teach different topics in those areas. And I'm also a creative writer, an artist, and performer. So sometimes I'll teach intersections of like divination and creativity because I think they go hand in hand. Yeah. And I teach other fun things like glamour magic and whatever.
Glamour magic.
Feeling right.
That sounds like some of the stuff mentioned in the fairy stuff books. Glamour magic.
Oh, that's fun.
Can we talk about Deadwicks and the hauntings in Deadwicks?
Yeah.
Because even in our walk through the store down here, we were told no photos upstairs because it upsets the spirits.
Yeah, and so basically, Deadwicks has good vibes. People come in here to do their happy magics, and also Portsmouth is really, really old and has a wild history that you'll learn about on the ghost tour.
Yeah, we're going on a ghost tour. Our first ever episode, we did the Sison, which is now Hotel Portsmouth.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. I had a friend whose mom was maid there, and we heard, we used to play in the hallways, and it was hella
I
haunted.
don't know why I didn't think to stay there.
Yeah.
That would have been like the perfect place.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
They live at the
But yeah, we have like, spirits with good vibes here. This used to be maybe a stable, I think, and we felt kind of like a nice man with a top hat or like a beautiful horse around. There's a woman who used to kind of peek in on my readings, and so we don't want to, we don't want to disturb them. They're so friendly. We don't want people to be afraid of them, and so we tend not to like encourage a lot of like paranormal investigation,
Like the traditional like hunting.
Yeah. Because they're just like, you know what, we're good friends. Let's keep it really chill. But at the Pickwick's at Strawberry Bank, where you'll end the ghost tour, there's a little boy Tom who throws candy at us. Right there, and it's like super playful. So it's a really cute Victorian mercantile, or no, it's colonial mercantile themed. And so there's like jars of candy and things like that, and people just like pelt it.
I just like related to like a stash of candy.
That would be really in the night.
Honestly.
I don't know what it's like.
But I wonder, well, what area does he hang out at? Is it the whole store? Or?
I hear that he hangs out the most upstairs. And he'll go upstairs at the end of the ghost tour.
Okay, because you don't normally get to go upstairs.
Yeah, well,
right?
The upstairs in this particular place is like where all the toys are, and so since he's a little boy,
There's an upstairs to Pickwick's.
So this is Strawberry Pickwick's at the bank, and so
you might not know.
Yeah, so that's the
Yeah.
Victorian mercantile. This is the colonial mercantile. Yeah, so you'll get to go in at the end of the night. And you can take pictures in there because he seems fine with that. Whereas we don't want to like test the Deadwick spirits because we have so much spiritual activity happening here. People do spells in the shop. People come in with all kinds of spiritual needs or doing readings. We don't want it to get too bananas.
Which everyone has their own energy.
A spiritual need a year ago before going to the Conjuring. 2 years ago before going to the Conjuring house. We picked up some crystals because we had a spiritual need.
We did.
Yeah, we love to help people with that. So you can come in and do the spell or get a reading or figure it out yourself.
Yeah. I love the corner that you guys have too where you can like write.
Yeah.
It's sort of a what is that?
So
we've done it before, but I can't really explain it.
You can write down wishes or intentions, and you throw in some change or however much you want, and then you donate to the children's house, everything, and then I think like 4 times a year we like ritually burn the papers so everyone's like intentions go out. Yeah, that's really sweet.
I love it so much.
I'm gonna try to bring my computer a little bit closer so I can see what the clip saying.
Yeah, this is too.
Mute one of them, it's too echoey.
Okay. I'm also while we're doing this, I'm also going to experiment with my camera because I think my camera has a stand, and I'm curious if can I switch my camera view? Yes, I can. I'm just gonna
I muted mine, but
I think
is it still echoey?
I'm trying to figure out a way to like be able to see into the tea well. Does this make any sense, or is this not going to work for the reading?
So you have to drink the tea, so you'll see better maybe when it's all.
Okay. It was drunk. It was a good thought, poor execution. It's kind of my theme.
Yeah, I only poured a little bit because Corinne to read the messages.
All right. Does it sound better now? Yes. Yeah.
Well, should we drink tea? Like, what's the process of the tea leaf reading?
Let me lead you through the thing.
Okay.
It's really fun. So I love all my fortune telling children equally. Like I love tarot, palmistry, tea leaf reading. It's all so fun. I think tea leaf reading might just be like a smidge my favorite. And let me tell you why. So you have your tea in front of you, green tea and white tea with butterfly pea flowers.
Do you want to like use this and like move it around?
Oh yeah, good idea.
Just be like to show the tea.
Work for us?
Yeah, thank you. And so what you can do when now that you have your tea, I did like a little blessing on the pot and the leaves, set good intentions for y'all. If you want to put your hands on the side of the cup and just take a moment to communicate with the really beautiful plants that we're sitting with and let them know what it is you would like to know about. If there's something specific, you can let them know what you want information on. if you want to just ask them to tell you whatever you need to know. And since this is something that's, public too, if you have any boundaries that you want to communicate to the plants, the things that you would prefer not to talk about, you can also do
I have
that
no
too.
boundaries.
I
don't know what boundaries are.
We often forget that we're
What are
publishing anything.
That's probably
How much therapy did I do? And I still don't know what boundaries are.
And then when you're ready, you can start drinking the tea. And so since I have to read it when it's all the way drunk down, I only poured you a little bit.
Okay.
And I will chat to you a little bit about what the process is of tea leaf reading while you're drinking and as you're thinking about what you want to know about. And then I'll start reading you both. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So when you're feeling ready, you can start drinking. It should be cool enough. And so tea leaf reading in my
cheers? Is that,
please
is that
cheers.
allowed?
That's so cute. Yeah, Sakamos. And so tea leaf reading is something that in my family we would do communally a lot. And so when you're in a fortune telling family, you practice with your relatives when you're a tiny little chickadee, and that's how you start to learn. And tea leaf reading was definitely my family's favorite because every Sunday everyone would come over and we would all, have breakfast, blinis, sauerkraut, or not sauerkraut, sour cream, fruit, and basically drink tea, read each other's tea leaves, gossip, talk about what's going on, give each other advice under the guise of divination, but also some divination.
Very practical magic.
Yeah. And so it was really, really fun. And so the idea of tea leaf reading, if you ever forgotten a palm reading, a lot of times it's like I'm just going through your palm in as much detail as possible, trying to give you information. And we're talking and chatting a little bit. But tea leaf reading is more conversational because the idea is that
I'm trying so hard not to eat the leaves.
it's okay.
And there's
They
so
won't hurt
much
you.
going into my mouth.
But there is a technique where you can tightly clamp your lips a little bit, and it'll siphon the leaves out. And if you want to kind of rotate the cup as you're drinking, you can. If you feel like distributing the leaves, if you can swish, if you want to. You can do whatever feels right.
I'm being really technical here.
Now it's like you understand how Noah is dealing with like breastfeeding. You're like, I get it.
I was literally thinking about him because my son is struggling a little bit with
Also,
eating, and
congratulations.
thank you. He'll go like cross-eyed and like really focused, and I feel like that's what
You're experiencing it.
Yeah, I'm channeling him.
Pathetic. And so what's fun about tea leaf reading is that. So I have like a tarot deck here just for an example.
Is that done?
Almost. Yeah, just
I
a
need
little
to
bit
keep
more.
going. Okay.
And then when it's that's pretty good.
there's-
Yeah, and you can flip it upside down in the cup.
Ooh.
And so with the tarot cards, these are like a cute little mini deck. They all have their prescribed meanings, like the 10 of cups, while it can mean different things for different people depending on the question, it's still like more or less is going to mean, happiness, like completion, like connection and harmony in your relationships, these kinds of things. Whereas tea leaf reading, the symbols that you have in your cup are unique to you. They can be different for you every time. And so when I'm reading someone's cup, I have an idea of what things could mean. But I also like to ask, what does this mean to you or bring up for you? Because sometimes it'll be something really specific that you want to share and that'll really enhance the reading. And if you're like, I don't know, that's fine. I already have some ideas. that's fine. So it's chatty in that way.
Do you feel connection to spirit as you're doing it?
Yeah.
How do you pull in that aspect of it?
Yeah. So do you mind if I start looking at someone's cup as I explain it? Who wants to go first?
You. I went first last week with the.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, and so what I do before I start reading for anybody is I always do like a little prayer to ancestors, deities, and Romani people are really diverse, and so that can look really different for a lot of people, but I know what that looks like for me. And I just ask for them to chat with y'all's guides and tell me what I need to know. And so I think of it as a spiritual process, even though I wouldn't necessarily market myself as like a psychic medium, just because I think when you do that, people expect you immediately tapping into dead people and all that stuff. Whereas that's just not my interest really. But sometimes I do use the tools to speak to people who have passed. And so, for me, it usually takes a moment if people want to look at the cup to really put together what I'm seeing, because it's kind of like an inkblot test. Like, what does it look like to you? Or looking at cloud shapes. And so if you're reading intuitively, you can think about that. But do you want to share anything about what you were hoping to know about?
I think that one of the things that I was thinking about, or I guess like the entire thing that I was thinking about, was just family life, and with my son struggling with adjusting to being in a fleshy body. Just a little bit about like him and his health and kind of like the future of our family.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's such a beautiful question. So I'm gonna have to pull it kind of closer to me now. But so the first thing, the way that I read is, I think about the center of the cup being the most current, like present thing. Further out is, further in the future. Some people read it by the handle. Paulina, who I wrote this with, reads it by the handle. But the first thing that stuck out at me is that you have kind of like a sacred heart shape. And so I think of like I don't know a ton about that iconography, but that was the first thing that I saw is like the heart with the flames and the thorn and this idea of, well, first I want to check, does that iconography have any resonance for you, like the Sacred Heart imagery?
No, but I like it.
It's really cool. They're cool tattoos, but also like, beautiful, specific to Catholicism. But
I guess I did. Maybe the church I went to was.
Yeah.
Wait, LMU, it was Sacred Heart Chapel.
Sacred Heart, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Any meaningful experiences from that might relate to parenting or family life?
No, I would go sit in the back pew and eat the snacks after church.
Snacks are
I went like 12 times.
Yeah.
It was more like when I was. Wow. Well, it was when I was hungry, and I would go. I would accompany my very, very Catholic friend.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I went,
but that was like the heart of the school, right?
Yeah. I'm also getting like scrappiness and resilience from that, where it's like, hey, you're making your way through the world, like you could make it through this too. But yeah, some of the things I think of when I see this image, as someone who grew up like vaguely Catholic but had never really been inside a church, is I am seeing the depth of empathy, how like you can ache so much for the little person that you created and really want to protect them from everything. And that is also like a gift that's sacred. This idea of, when I think of the Sacred Heart, I think of how we can love people so much that it's painful. And this feels like a reminder not to be afraid of that pain, and that pain can actually inform a lot of your awareness around things, but it doesn't need to consume you. And so it's sort of like, if you're breathing into the pain of something, being like, okay, I don't need to get carried away with fear, but fear can make me a more aware parent, or fear can make me more aware of what's happening with me.
Because I often feel that I am actively dying quicker now because of all of the anxiety and the fear. It's like very overwhelming, and I feel like I'm about to bust into a million different pieces and float away.
That's
hard
really
to keep
understandable. Yeah, because I mean, none of this stuff is easy. But I think the other thing about when I see this, it's empathy that you're sharing, but also maybe it's important for you to share that with people who love you and ask for support, especially from people who either just feel like safe spaces no matter what, whether or not they have experience with parenting. But like definitely talk to other parents who are like, "Ooh, yes, so that's a stage that I went through." Or like, yes, that's something I always work with, and this is what's been working for me.
So my Instagram DMs, just everyone I've ever known has had a child.
Hello. Yeah, and there's a need for you to be deeply compassionate with yourself too. And so, fear is evolutionary; it keeps us alive, but it's not always telling us the truth. And so having that kind of deep compassion for yourself, but also remembering your resourcefulness, your resilience, your capability, and just like you've got this.
Because we had this conversation like verbatim last week.
Basically, yeah.
Of like how you have to be,
but it was more
nicer to yourself.
Me bawling my eyes out, driving down a dark, windy road,
and
on the phone with
you have to give yourself more compassion and grace.
It's so important. I'm also seeing. I'm seeing someone kind of like, I'm seeing a very strong person riding a tiger.
It's me.
I
just got a tiger. That's when I was in the tiger.
Perfect. I love it. Yeah, do you have any connections with tigers or that kind of imagery? Because I'm actually seeing like two big cats in your cup.
What's so strange, like initially I would say no, But yesterday I read my son this book called Chomp Zoo.
Oh.
And there's a tiger at the end. It goes chomp, chomp, chomp.
Oh my gosh.
And no one was super about it. So like that's the only thing I can think of.
Okay. That's so interesting because the figure looks really more masculine to me.
It's Noah.
Yeah. And so I think that this is saying like you were teaching him how to be like strong, basically. You're teaching him how to be aware of himself, and then again, like strength is also self-compassion and love and softness and gentleness, and we forget that sometimes. And so I'm seeing him as this like strong figure riding a tiger, and so you're asking about health. That feels like a really good omen for like he's gonna do great. Like, but also you're teaching him like through books and through your parenting and all these different things of how to advocate for himself and move through the world. And the tiger is sort of bounding toward these birds that are a little higher up. And birds usually bring messages and omens and communication. And so I think you teaching him how to use his voice and talk about boundaries and share his feelings and not be afraid of his feelings and know that feeling things makes him strong and all of that. I think that can be incredibly helpful. And I'm seeing like other kind of little cat faces saying that like, you were strong enough for this. And like in the tarot, the strength card is a woman like petting a lion. Like strength is also softness and like, gentleness and self-compassion. I also see like this often comes up for me around inner child work and children, but a symbol of a dragon. Do you have any associations with dragons?
No, I don't think so.
So this is one of the things what's really fun is, if you get really into tea leaf reading, your spirits will start to have like symbols that they show you as a sort of shorthand for things. And so this is one of my shorthands is I tend to see like my inner child as like cute little dragons. And so like that now becomes like the symbol when I read for people where it's like, your inner child stuff is definitely going to come up with parenting. And that might be part of the terror is like tending to your childhood and maybe revisiting the things that might be triggered, which is so normal and also overwhelming. And
we also did talk about this, like last year you had this whole epiphany of it being you who potentially was haunting yourself when you were younger. And you were like, well, what if when I'm doing all like this personal work on myself, and we talked about like, what if it's when I have a child?
Which I'm already starting to feel because there's like moments where like even in my face or like my emotions or my reactions, like I know he's a baby, but he's still like receptive and things, he might not remember things, but like things will stay within his body. And so I'm already starting to be like, oh, I need to like rephrase that the next time that ever happens.
Interesting. Oh, I love this. So cool. I'm reading this because this dragon looks like sort of protective, like it's like curled around a treasure or something. And so like that does feel like a very clear metaphor for like how you feel about your child. But also this is like your protectiveness over your inner child as he's getting older, like, a small creature screaming at you might feel triggering. And so it's important for you to like take those moments and you can, communicate like, okay, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. I'm gonna take a few breaths and then I'll get back to you in 5 seconds. But it's like that kind of like gently tending to yourself feels really important. And so my like short answer is like the future looks great. He's riding on a tiger. He looks like Tarzan. Like he's doing amazing. Halloween costume.
The new Halloween costume.
Yeah, and also like this is such an important time for you to be incredibly gentle with yourself and remember that your fear is a strength and it doesn't need to overwhelm you and you get to ask for support and like it makes you more aware and sensitive. It's like think of it as a tool you live with.
I'm like trying so hard not to cry right now. It's really beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. My gosh, you're doing great.
You are. You really are.
I'm gonna take a breath.
You're showing strength.
I'm showing strength.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I love that.
Me too. Do you want to do it?
Yeah. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to look into when you were setting your intention?
I was kind of thinking similar, like family life, home life.
Yeah.
And, balancing everything.
Okay, so I'm just going to show everyone what's in the cup right now. And I'll take it closer to me. And so, it's what's fun too is that people might see different things in the cup. So the first thing I'm seeing is a huge fish in the center of the cup, which is usually a symbol of wealth and money. A lot.
Like that.
Yeah, I know. I
Nice.
Could be mad.
I hope that trickles on to me.
I mean, the only business I've got going on.
It Yeah, and so this fish looks gigantic and looks really
Oh,
happy.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Fish.
abundance is so many things, right? And you also just like moved to the East Coast. I didn't know. And but do you have any associations with fish?
I feel like one of my signs is Pisces,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always felt very connected to water.
Bought a house that has a fish on it.
Oh, you
and that,
did?
yeah. Like all the houses in Marblehead do.
Yeah.
They
They all
do?
have like
It's like a
historic plaques,
fisherman's sea.
and they all have like.
Oh, how cute!
Yeah.
I've never been, but I have to go.
It's really, really cute.
Okay, so I'm loving that because I was connecting this to when I looked at it, I was like East Coast, like this feels very connected to your move. And so I think that this house was a really good choice for you. What I'm thinking of is how there are a lot of different kinds of abundance. Like there's financial abundance, of course, like maybe this was a good investment. Maybe this is also bringing you closer to things that you like. Y'all get to be in business closer together. Maybe that's doing something really special. There might be opportunities that feel kind of specific to this place and this life choice that you've made that are like just enriching your life a lot. Oh,
I mean, we get to be here with you in person.
Yeah.
it's so fun. I'm so happy. And also, yeah, there's so many different kinds of abundance. And so this is a good time to think about what abundance and richness means to you as you're thinking about what your priorities are for your family life moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like a clear idea of what kind of abundance you're calling in right now? Because I would say this is the time to like go hard for it. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
So this is a great time to reflect on that. And we're in kind of the harvest season time. And so if you like to do any kind of ritual, meditation, prayer, this is a good time for you to be asking for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that there's literally a fish on your house. You could even talk to that as a symbol. Yeah.
I have been communicating with my house a lot and like the spirits.
Good. Yeah. I like to leave out like a little shot glass of liquor for the spirits when I move into a new place. Yeah, it's a nice offering that they seem to appreciate.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I'm shifting to a different image. You also have a very like strapping, powerful kind of figure, and this figure is dancing. It's reminding me of like statues of certain Hindu deities that I would see like sort of dancing with like all their arms or like weapons around them. And it feels like a very empowering combination of juggling like with like strength, like maybe all the responsibilities, because it looks like this figure has really strong shoulders. It looks like they're carrying a lot, but also finding like the joyfulness in it. Do you have multiple things that you are juggling right now, like projects that feel meaningful to you?
I mean, yeah, always, but
Yeah, you're just like, yeah, it's for years.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we do. We have so many things that we're juggling.
Yeah. This feels like there's like leaning into the dance of it is really helpful, and knowing that you are strong enough to carry all of it. But the dance part of it seems essential because I'm thinking about like the Wheel of Fortune card, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has free will, so that creates a sort of chaos. And when things change, we have to sort of lean into the change. When an opportunity falls through, there might be a good reason for that, and to just take things as like you're dancing with the universe.
Yeah.
And so this can be about, it feels like not forcing the timing of anything, knowing that you have a lot of things that you're tending to, dreams that you're like, stoking the coals for.
Mm-hmm.
But everything is falling together like in rhythm. You might not always, you might not always be able to see the rhythm. You know how when you're dancing with someone and having a really good time, sometimes you're aware of the steps, but some of them just feel natural. You're responding to someone else's body. It feels like you're in that with the universe, but also the people you're really close to right now. And because around this figure, there are all these like butterflies and birds and all these really interesting, it's like as this figure is moving, as the arm is thrown out, like all this magic is just swirling up.
Like coming with it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so this is the little swirl of butterflies that I'm seeing there.
Aww.
And do you have any associations with butterflies? I mean, they're such a popular symbol. But
I have not, but I've been told before to look out for butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a common thing I've gotten in readings, but I don't really have an association with them.
Yeah, I think that they're so popular and multicultural. People have so many associations with them. What I'm noticing about this is that the shape that this butterfly swirl is making, it's reminding me more of like the life stage of a caterpillar to butterfly. And I'm always the most interested in the cocoon stage because they're melting goo around their own hearts and reforming.
So cool.
It's so cool.
You like
yeah.
I like that.
The word you.
Yeah. And so you are in a transformational time. You've already made like a big move, and then things are unfolding, and there are going to be times when it does feel like melting goo around your heart, but it's like, oh, this is a miraculous process. Try to stay present in it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of invitation in staying present. At the furthest reach of your cup, I do see like the shape of a baby. Is that something that you're thinking of, or are you thinking more of like a creative project that you're like bringing into the world?
But both.
Both?
Like,
I love that.
Baby, not yet for baby.
Yeah,
The
it's like
baby will come on September 21st because I had a dream years ago that she
Really?
would have a baby on September 21st. So
Equinox baby.
I have my period right now, so I'm not pregnant.
just announce it. For years, everyone was like, "Is Sabrina pregnant? Is Sabrina pregnant? Is Sabrina
No,
pregnant?"
she's getting a divorce.
Been there. It's so important. So important to get divorced. So this is at the furthest reach of your cup. And so that's fine that you're like, not yet.
But that is like ultimately,
it's
like,
like-
I want a family.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I feel like this is just saying like, yes, that's very much like, in the cup for you. I was getting a few different associations with this too. And so, creative work, but also I'm getting the sense it's like these two things can go together. Just moving around the cup a little bit to see if there's anything else. But that feels very like good timing, very possible for you, very accessible. So another cute thing that I'm seeing is jellyfish. Do you have any associations with jellyfish?
No, but I love jellyfish.
What do you love about them?
I think they're cool.
They are very cool. Yeah.
Blubbery.
I like to ask.
Gooey.
Yes. No, I like to ask because sometimes when I'm like, what do you have associations with? And they're like, I just like it. A lot of times the qualities are meaningful for the reading. And so I have my own idea about what is really cool for jellyfish. And I can share that first if you want to, or if you want to.
I'll say real quick what I like. I mean, first
Yeah.
thing that comes up is I like that
I like their colors.
Yeah,
I like how many tentacles they have.
that's good too.
And I like the way, I'm thinking specifically of the scene in Finding Nemo,
Mm.
where they're like
Yeah.
that big cloud and they're like moving really gracefully, and then
I love this. So what they look like to me, I'm very fascinated about how jellyfish don't have like the typical structure that we can relate to as humans. Like they're just like a nervous system, like the ghost of a nervous system.
Right.
And so I think that is extraordinary. Like they feel like pure instincts to me. And the jellyfish are also like, they're really beautiful, they're graceful, they kind of float through the water. They can also be like hella dangerous, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes when animals come up in the cup, like to me when I looked at the fish, I was like abundance. The jellyfish, it feels more like they're kind of speckled throughout the cup. They feel more like a representation of you or the kind of spirit that you might be connecting with. Yeah.
Well, you learn to protect yourself.
Yeah.
You're soft and graceful and kind of transition and float through different spaces. But in the
And I
end,
learned how to like get in touch with my nervous system too.
Oh,
Like,
I
very,
love
like,
that.
Trusting my gut and
Yeah.
instincts and yeah.
Good. Okay, I love that. That feels
That's
like
cool.
a yes. Yeah, so the jellyfish I feel like could be a kind of, guide for you right now. And also like you're living by the ocean, you might see them. It's a cool time to like go in the ocean and think about like pulling jellyfish strength when you need it.
Call upon
Yeah.
the jellyfish.
oh my
That
God, you're
was
gonna
so
get a
Yeah.
weird girl and Marble has the like
You have
cold
to
plunges
be.
and there's just like a swirl of
Forget-
jellyfish going around.
Forget me and the crows. Me and the jellyfish.
In the ocean. We're gonna see you on like the local news. A mermaid spotted in Marblehead.
I would be so happy. I would
Same.
applaud.
I'd be like, Jezmina, love me too.
Yeah, jellyfish icon. Yeah, so this is a good time for you to remember that you are like beauty, grace, nervous system, all these wonderful things, and also have a wonderful sense of how to protect yourself. And I think especially because they are sort of clustered around this part of the cup that's opposite to all your dreams. It's reminding you that these are things that you can be protective of. And so, you get to carve out space. You get to have boundaries for these things. You don't have to be swept away by the hustle and bustle anymore. You're at a point, y'all are both at a point in your careers where you get to decide, like, and this is what I'm saying yes to, and this is what I'm saying no to. And this might be true in other ways too, having those like boundaries.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole reading. I feel like the jellyfish brought it all together.
Yeah. Do you want to look
really
at
cool way?
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Do you want to look at each other's
I
cups
do.
and just see if there's anything you like see for each other that you want to share? Because you can read intuitively.
I don't know that I'm reading anything
That's
specific,
okay.
but this looks like a frog to me.
Oh yeah, what do you associate with frogs? That was what I saw as a baby.
This is a baby?
Yeah. I love people can see different
Well,
things. It's
I
all
think-
valid.
Maybe if I like find a bit of myself in Sabrina's cup. Growing up, I would always stop and get all of the frogs and the worms out of my parents' driveway before we drive up. Like when it was raining, and so I felt a need to like protect
I would do the
the
same
frogs.
thing.
Yeah,
And I
baby
feel
again.
a pretty big need to also protect Sabrina.
Yeah.
I feel very protective. You are my first baby.
That's beautiful.
I feel like I am not saying anything new.
That's okay.
We did have a question in the chat. Susan asked, can you use any loose leaf tea or?
I do have feedback on that. So basically, yes. I like to be really nerdy and challenge myself to read with different kinds of tea. Like right now I've been really into like really floral heavy, herb heavy readings. My grandmother felt really strongly that like the orange pekoe tea was ideal because she thought it wasn't too big, too small. Green leaf, can be a little unfurling. You both have varieties of green. I think the only thing that you really can't read with is if you just open up a tea bag where the leaves are pre-cut because they're way too small and you'll just swallow them all and they just won't sink. It's just sort of technical.
Yeah.
But you can read with anything as long as it's not that, basically.
Wow.
And people read wine sediment or coffee, Turkish coffee grounds, and like you can do tassiomancy with really any kind of dregs, which is really fun.
That is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all for like DIY, like in the moment if it feels right.
That feels so magical, right?
Yeah.
That is very natural and in the moment.
Absolutely.
Are there any teachers? Like I know you learned from your
teachers.
Like, are there
Sorry,
any-
I'll
like if
myself
someone
out.
was trying to start in the beginnings and was like collecting a bunch of books and trying to find a bunch of different teachers to kind of like absorb all the beginnings of learning this.
Yeah, I haven't sought out any teachers because it was my grandma, and
How cool are you? It's just in your blood. I didn't need to.
But I love to teach myself, and I teach online a lot,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to be a teacher if you want me to. But I think look at who's out there, especially I think it doesn't have to be me, but try to look for Romani teachers. I think it would be
That's great
great.
advice.
Or if it's in someone else's cultural practice, like for instance, there's so many like West Asian coffee ground readers that read it because that's what they've done, and also Roma
I've never heard of
picks up from there.
the coffee ground.
Oh yeah, it's really
never
fun.
heard
Paulina and I are doing a coffee ground reading night in Portland, Oregon on the 27th at Nomadic Rugs. So yeah, if you're there, you should come get your coffee grounds read by us.
That's so cool.
That's so cool.
Amazing. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions.
I do feel like we need to have you do another like where to find you because the beginning was echoey and I don't know if everyone heard it properly.
I love to talk about where to find me. Yeah, so I'm Jezmina Von Thiele. We're at Deadwick's Ethereal Emporium, where I'm frequently an in-person reader, usually Thursday through Sunday. But right now I'm on a book tour, and you can find me on a book tour. Yay, Secrets of Romani Fortune Telling.
I'm doing it right.
Yeah, that's a book I wrote with Paulina Stevens. Paulina and I have a podcast together called Romance on Podcast, which is basically dedicated to celebrating and uplifting Romani people. We interview Roma from all walks of life. It's super fun. A lot of fortune telling stuff, but a lot of things that are not fortune telling too. And you can find me at jezminavonthiele.com and romanceonpodcast.com.
Which are both in the description of the YouTube video.
Yeah, and I'm actually doing a huge tea leaf reading event here at Deadwick's on October 19th with Paulina.
How fun.
Yeah, we're doing like a fancy dinner with like Romani cuisine.
Down here?
Yeah, at Fuzzy Wigs, our sister restaurant.
Oh my gosh, so cool.
And we'll teach you how to read your own tea leaves, and we'll do a little tea leaf reading swap. But you can keep up to date with all of our events because the book tour is culminating with the Welcome to Romana Festival in New Orleans, and it's the first celebration of its kind. It's a huge festival.
Are you going to it?
Yeah, I'm running it.
You're running it?
I'm doing so. Bimbo Yaga Productions, my friend Ilva, is throwing it with Romana Podcast, and so we are putting on a festival, and it's a celebration.
So cool.
I'm so excited.
Incredible.
Yeah,
You were telling Sabrina that
I
she's
was like
juggling things in her cup. Like you're.
I was like, the fish is might be your fish.
I am hustling at all times. But yeah, basically Romani arts, culture, spirituality, and it'll be really fun. We'll do feasts and a literary salon and an art show and performances. So you can also really easily find me on Instagram, Jezmina.Von Thiele. That's where I'm the most active, although I pretend to be on TikTok and other
Same. We
platforms.
pretend to be
Yeah.
on TikTok. Too.
It's really
But
hard
we're
to
not.
pretend. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Really.
Keeping up the facade, purely.
Yeah, there's a storefront, but no one's out, you know.
If only we were 20 years old and
I
knew
know,
how to
right?
work phones.
Too old.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
This
you.
was
Oh my God.
incredible.
Thank you for having me. I'm so
Should we show our tea leaves
Yes.
one more time?
Ask the people what they see.
I'm going like.
All right, I'll read them off what people are seeing.
All right, I'm holding Corinne's.
And I'm holding Sabrina's. So we'll see.
It
what
might take a
people-
second for them to get to.
Yeah. Vera had said, I don't know, did you show the cup before, Sabrina? Were you showing mine before? Vera had said, I see a horse.
Oh, I love a horse.
It's delayed.
Someone said a cat and a mouse.
Cute.
Yeah.
Is there a specific way to like hold it? Should it be?
You can kind of rotate it if you want to, and just tips for tea leaf readers. It's nice to look up close and far away. You can focus and unfocus your eyes. 'Cause it's sort of like looking at a cloud. Like there's no wrong way to see a shape, but you might, try from different perspectives.
Autumn said, I think Autumn might have joined late because they said that they see a heart, which is you had pointed out in one of them.
Sacred Heart.
Yeah. Litha says that she sees a half moon holding a full sun, like pregnancy.
Oh, in this one?
Cute.
I could see that.
Yeah. Like the
Someone else said dragon on the right, whale on the left.
Yes.
Someone joked that in your cup, Sabrina, they see an alien abduction.
I'm down.
So.
That's the baby that's coming.
And a mermaid in
So
Sabrina's.
Well,
Oh, it does kind of look like a mermaid. I can see that. I mean, I feel like I look kind of like the tail or something,
I also like that the decorative flowers that you put on top kind of do have the jellyfish alien look to it as well.
It's so fun to read the flowers.
Yeah.
They add just more texture.
Incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
We'll stop the live stream.
We'll say goodbye, everyone.
Everyone, check out Deadwick
And Jezmina.
and Jezmina. And
I do online readings, by the way.
here's the book. I'll hold it up right before we click out.
Yay.
Yay!
Thank you, Mom.